So, without any delay, I am excited to welcome our first author to the stage. It is two-time author Joann Filomena. She is the author of The Widow Coach. Joann, hello.
Hi, Angela.
This is your second time on the red carpet.
It is.
Super excited to have you here. So, The Widow Coach, Guiding Widows Out of Pain to an Extraordinary Life. Tell us about this book. What's it about and who did you write it for?
I wrote it for the widow that has moved beyond that initial shock, because when your spouse dies, you really go into a state of shock for a good 6 months. But after that point, there are widows that begin to look forward again and think, what am I going to do now? How do I make something of myself? How do I make this mean something? I also discovered the great need for coaches, life coaches, who are actually widows that get this. So I've begun training and certifying widows to become widow coaches to work with other widows.
So you mentioned you've discovered this. Your first book came out almost a year ago, and 2 weeks ago. Was that discovery part of what the last year of being an author has been for you?
Absolutely. Because shortly before doing the first book, Widowed, I had been life coaching widows individually. And they would come to me and say things like, I was sent to a grief counselor, but I only went a couple times because I didn't feel a connection. Or one said, Joann, I've been paying a therapist for over 2 years and I don't feel better. And each time I would ask them the same question. I would say, gosh, was your therapist a widow? And she said, no. And I thought, how could she know exactly what this is? And I came to realize that there are so few widows out there helping other widows. I mean, many, many widows will reach out to another widow and share a cup of coffee.
I think you even talk about that in your first book. It's like one of the first scenes.
Right. Share a story, and that's helpful. But for widows to be able to find another widow that's trained to help them find the strength to get through and make something of their life, that's everything.
It's so powerful. So you actually train widows to become life coaches for other widows. In the process, have you seen changes happen both for your clients but for their clients?
Oh, yeah. But just going through the 12 weeks of training, I watched them transform. I mean, it's amazing. And it's not anything I do. It's the tools I'm teaching them. And they're applying all of the tools and concepts to their own lives. That's how you learn it best. So that they're going through 12 weeks of absolute transformation, and their lives are going through a transformation as they become a certified widow coach.
It's amazing. So I'm going to take a question from Christina from California. Hi, Christina. So I figured you'd be a good one to ask this. You've written 2 books with me. We've worked together for about a year. And Christina wanted to know, how did Angela's program support you? Can you share a little bit about that?
Oh, wow. It was everything. It was everything, because I don't think even my first book would have been finished if I wasn't working within the program. When it came time to let go of that manuscript the first time, to turn it over to your editors and to your staff, and I felt like, oh my gosh, no, it's not ready yet. I need to spend another 2 years working on this to make it flow right, to get the rest. And I think once you said to me, Joann, you realize you can take the next 2 years to work on that manuscript. But that's 2 years that there's widows out there that need you. And they're waiting. And I just kind of went, oh my gosh, okay, take the manuscript. And the book would not have happened.
Do you think you have helped more people over the last year than you would have without that first book?
I would say 20 times. 20 times the number, at least, yes.
So our theme today is about how a book is a way to really give of yourself. And Christina asked this question, like, how does Angela's book support her? How does Angela's program support you? People know, they see you on the red carpet, they know they'll get their book done. Do you think that you would be training and certifying widow coaches if we hadn't worked together last year?
No. We worked together for a full year, and I learned so much about myself, and discovered my own expectations, and really was able to drill into the exact thing that I needed to be doing in the world and how best to do that, how to reach the people who need me. That's everything. I mean, you have to know how to let the people find you that need you.
I love that. Well, LaShonda from Georgia, hi LaShonda, she says, did the program help you find your people and help your people find you?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, I was a life coach before I wrote Widowed, right? And my business as a life coach, like I said, it's like 20-fold. The book, having the book out there allowed so many more widows, first of all, to realize that there could be a future for them beyond widowhood, right? That they can move through it, that they can find the strength to get through that. The first book was critical for that.
And so why this book? So let's talk about the Widow Coach and who you hope to reach with this book and how it's different.
This book is different because this is not for the brand new widow. It certainly could be, but it's for the widow that is looking to begin to do something with their life. They want to give back. They want to do something meaningful. I have widows that come to me and say, you know, I'm just getting from one day to the next in this job that I'm doing, and I really feel like I need to make a difference in the world, exactly what we do with our books. And this is the way I can train them and then certify them as a widow coach, and they can begin working with other widows.
Do you think if somebody who's thinking about, they're probably not thinking about becoming a widow coach, but they're thinking about adding more meaning back in their life and not just getting from day to day, do you think reading this book would help them identify if this is even a viable path for them?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Doing the book, the women who go through my course, they don't always become life coaches for widows. Sometimes they, through the process of this, realize that there's another dream. I had one that always dreamed about a bed and breakfast by the ocean. And coming through this course, she realized, I want that bed and breakfast to be for widows. A place where widows can get out of their by-rote life, go stay in a really welcoming, comforting place where there will be other widows to connect with. And she puts her coaching skills to use in the evenings with these women in the bed and breakfast.
What an amazing dream. Let's go there.
I know it. When she told me that was her dream, I said, do that. Let's do that. That is so good.
You know, if you are a widow, you are allowed to have dreams again. I don't know if they got that memo, but if they were looking for that memo, it's right here in Joann Filomena's book, Joann Filomena's book, The Widow Coach, Guiding Widows Out of Pain to an Extraordinary Life. That is what she does every day. I bet you know a widow. The Amazon link to get this book for free is up on the screen now. You can take that link and send it to someone you love. And you don't have to say too much. Just say, saw this and thought of you. It's free. Who knows? It could change their life. Maybe they'll have a bed and breakfast by the sea.
Right.
So thanks, Joanna. Amazing job.